What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who do not know, I am Austin Anson, and I share all my tricks and tips on running a mobile welding business as a young guy. So if that's something that interests you, maybe you're a young welder, just getting your first job, or you work in a different industry, or you're near retirement on an industry, and you just want to maybe share some advice, join me for this video. And all my videos. So I got a couple notes I wrote on my phone. I thought maybe I'd just talk to you guys about. The topic today, if I can find it, is managing your money when you're just starting out. Now, I'm not one of them kind of people who like to talk about stuff I don't know. So I'm not going to talk about the perspective of going out borrowing money to start a welding business. I'm going to talk about starting with bare minimum, how I did it, how maybe I advertised a little bit, and what have you. But the main focus is going to be what I did with the money that came in, and what I wish I would have done differently, and what I'm satisfied with doing. So, all that being said, let's dive into this. So, I started with bare minimum, which a lot of people think what I have now is bare minimum. It's not. I got out of school, I got out of high school, and I tried college, and I liked college, but I always liked being hands-on, so my dad told me you should be a welder. So I went into a welding school in Owasso, Michigan. Met some great people. Learned the trade, got my certifications, went out and I found a job, and that job paid really, really well. But I worked a lot. So I only hung out there for like a year. Yeah, I did a year there. And what I did, and I'll make a different video about that because that's a big topic. But I bought a good reliable car because I was driving a lot, and I knew I wanted to weld. I just didn't for myself. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. But I'm getting off the beaten path here. So when I started, my dad gave me a Clark 130 EN, which is them little blue machines that have like a 5-foot lead MIG gun. There wasn't a lot I could do, so my big focus was like old guys with cars who were storing them and doing that. So I'd weld on a lot of sheet metal panels, or I'd do other sheet metal work, or if it was like an 1/8 inch wall thickness, I'd do it. I'd do it with that Clark. Well, a lot of mufflers on, did a lot of work that I look at now and thought, gosh, that's really not even worth doing. I tried to stick to $100 minimum, unless it was like a really, really quick job and I could, go make a quick $50 in an hour. But I tried to stick with $100 minimum. My grandpa had a store. He's retired now, but he had a grocery store. So he'd tell some of the older guys, the farmers, all that kind of stuff, what I was doing. But bare minimum, I had a Charger and I had that little Lincoln welder. But what I did with the money coming in, so I worked my 9-to-5 job, and that paid my day-to-day bills. And all the money coming in, minus like taxes, because I did set that stuff aside because I didn't know exactly what would happen. I saved, and I saved, and I saved, and I saved, and I saved. And with that money, I started buying equipment that I could better grow. So now that I'm actually going and I'm my own boss at 24 years old, this is how I've been managing my money. So 30% of the truck's income, the overall income, goes to taxes. And I know some people are probably going, whoa, that's way too much. You only really need to put 20-25% away, or you do it based off, you pay taxes on your profits, not your growth. all that. The reason I do it is because I don't have a large history of borrowing money, and we don't have a house yet, though we are saving up for one. So there's few bills I gotta meet each month, so I can actually live off very little taking in from the welding business. And then at the end of the year, whatever I don't have to pay into taxes, that's kind of like my next year's budget. So, for example, so say I'll try to remember. I'll just round up my numbers from last year. So last year, based off of just what I had into taxes, what I didn't pay in was, I think, around, well, it was $2,000. It was a little under that. We'll round up instead of rounding down. So with $2,000, I built my flatbed for the truck, and I bought all my abrasives. I kind of figured out how many abrasives I bought last year, and I went ahead and I bought them again this year. Some more tools like clamps and stuff. And then I took some of that money and I just added it to my emergency fund. So I guess let me rewind back, because that's kind of an important thing. When I was just starting out making a little jobs, I had an X number I wanted, and I think it was $500. Said I wanted $500 to set aside to cover, like, in case I'm out welding and my welder quit working. $500, I can go put cash down on a new welder. You can get a welder for $500. The same quality of the welder I was using. So anyways, this past year, my new emergency fund was around $1,500. I took and I added it'd be about $500 since we're rounding up. So $2,000 in emergency, and that's just for, like, if some piece of equipment breaks when I'm out on the road. And for $2,000, that will cover just about anything except my truck. And if my truck broke down, like if the motor blew up, I could probably be pretty close to getting a new motor put in for $2,000. So an emergency fund. When you're just starting out, it's nice to have a little comfort. But that's only 30% of the income. So the next thing I did was I take 40% and I put it into account that is a big purchase fund. So what that means, the big purchase fund, I said in another video, which this is mostly what's taking it up now. I said in another video, I'm trying to save up and buy a shop cash. It's not going to be a big shop unless things get way wild here. But a shop and furnishings. So brakes and shears and that kind of stuff. CNC table, that kind of thing. So that's where 40% of what I make off the truck now goes to. And after, so my first thing it will be, actually, let me back up. I have the shop's materials bought to build the walls. It's going to be made out of metal. I have those bought. Those are sitting aside. I still have to put a concrete floor. Well, first we have to get either whatever the property it's going to be or whatnot. Because we're going with building one. We're not going with buying a used or a existing building, which we are looking at. If we come across one, I'll buy it, and I'll either use materials for something else, sell them, or put up a shop whenever we buy our home too. And I'll get into how that's going to work. Anyways, and after that, the big equipment fund will go into, I think the first piece of equipment I want to buy is a CNC cutting table, plasma cutting table. So that will happen, and then, you know, I might maybe build, I've seen a couple of homemade brakes that I like, so I might build a couple of those. But anyway, so then I still have 30% left of my income. So what I do with that 30% is I live off of it. That goes to paying the truck insurance. That goes to paying the general liability insurance. That goes to paying me. And that goes to paying for, like, abrasives and welding rods, which I stock up on at the beginning of the year. I take my assessment from last year and I say, okay, you know, I went through, you know, 200 pounds of 70-18, and I went through 100 pounds, and these are just rough figures, of 60-10. So this year I'll buy 200 pounds and 100 pounds, you know, or 200 and 200. And then I went through, you know, 300 cutoff wheels and 100 flap discs. So I'll buy those. So off that 30%, and whatever's left over, like at the end of the month, I don't use up all of that 30% that's in an account on the auto insurance, the general liability insurance, and that. It will just roll over. I don't, whatever. And then at the end of the year, too, it works out good. Winter being my slowest time, like I said, I don't use all of my tax money that I put aside for taxes. And the idea of that is if I have a winter with no work, I can still make my insurance payments and I'll make my payment. How I pay myself is a flat rate. I don't pay myself. I don't say, you know, the truck makes this much in an hour, I'm going to make this much. No, I pay myself a flat, like a salary-based income. So anyways, rewind a little bit. The money I keep separate from, like, my personal life and my business life. I will do side work. There's a few weeks since I'm just getting started that in the year that I'm actually like welding on this truck 60 hours a week, just straight on the truck. I float a lot between like 30 and maybe 35 hours. That being said, those are generally like 12-hour days. So I have days where it's like, maybe one of my clients, a farmer or something, needs help, or the big thing is my brother, he'll need help, so I'll go and I'll work for him. So all that money I get from him goes into my personal account, minus taxes. And then the money I pay myself as a rig welder goes into my personal account, and based off that personal account, we pay our bills and we save up for our house. I keep my personal money and my business money completely separate. Not everybody does that. For example, I know when my brother started his gig, it was all his money. There wasn't the business's money and there wasn't his money. It was just, this is my money. It's all in an account. Either way is probably fine. I think my way is just a little more organized. And then eventually, so what will happen is when I get to a point in my life where my shop's furnished and, you know, maybe it's all one guy can take, instead of having 40% go into a big picture fund, I will build up a much larger emergency fund, which I want to try and find, and let me know in the comments if anybody else does this. Maybe like a happy medium or a, you know, percentage they have in their emergency fund of their month, like their yearly income. I don't know. Like with our personal life, I guess I'll probably just do it this way. But with our personal life, we try to have 3 to 6 months saved up to, in case something happens, I break my leg, I can't go out and weld anymore, or my wife loses her job, stuff like that. We try to be protected, and at that point I will probably save up and get, you know, just rough shop expenses, maybe 6 months, maybe even more, maybe even a year. I'd like to have money to sit on, I guess. But once that's accomplished, I'll take the gas pedal, I'll let off the gas a little bit on the whole saving 40% for a big picture, because then I will be at the big picture, and I'll, you know, maybe go back and upgrade some equipment. Maybe I'll pay myself a little bit more. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to make a quick video. I just got done, actually. I was filming my starting a business for $5 grand video, which you guys will most likely see first. And I don't know, I guess I just had some afterthoughts on that video that I thought maybe was important information, you know, because it was basically, so that video told you how to start, and then maybe this one can help you out managing your money. The biggest tips are just, when you get going, don't spend all the money that's coming in at once, because unless you're way luckier than I have been, or maybe just way better, I don't know, maybe it's not even luck, money will stop coming in for a little while. Granted, if you're in like Texas or somewhere where you guys don't get snow, you'll have a better luck at that. For me, I can, like, just looking off the past couple years, I can pretty much bank that January and February are going to be very, very, very slow. Because the only people who are really out working that might break something that I have anything to do with are plows. You know, and I do have a couple guys who, if their plow breaks, they call me. Here's the other thing, though. Mobile welding, when it's like negative 10 degrees out, nothing wants to work. The generator doesn't want to start. Welder doesn't want to weld. It makes for a really big hassle. So, and you're freezing the whole time you're doing it. So I guess I don't mind as much that work gets slow then, due to the weather. Which, again, being diverse, I plow snow myself. In fact, I thought about building my own backblade, because I built one for a guy last year, and he freaking loved the thing. So I thought about building a backblade for the truck, and then just buying a straight blade and showing you guys some plow videos. But then the guy I plow for who's my brother, he's like, oh, then I don't really want to have to pay you and your truck. So I don't know. It might not happen. But I think it'd be cool, because I like plowing snow and I like building stuff. But, and one way to work around that is you get into a shop. I guess there's two ways. Two ways, which one I might even try, is, like, I guess you'd call it subcontracting for maybe a fab company or a machine company who might get busy in the winter. Maybe you could fill in there a couple days. The other thing is maybe fab companies or machine companies, if they have parts they need built, you can do if you have a home garage, which is actually how I thought I would get my intro into a welding business, was working out of a garage. And then I thought, while I was living in an apartment, why don't I just put a mobile rig together, because it was kind of a gray area. Our apartment complex said you can't work on anything out in the parking lot, you know, and all this and all that. And I asked them, I said, what if I put like a service vehicle together and just parked it there? And they said, as long as it's vehicle registered to you, that's fine. We just don't want to see you changing oil in it and, you know, running your generator at 5 a.m., waking up the neighbors. So I said, cool. So that's basically the reason I started mobile welding, was because it was something I could do right then, right now. Anyways, guys, thank you to everyone who's new to the channel. Leave your comments below on what you think, if this video is helpful, if you have a better idea, maybe how to manage your money or whatnot. Videos will get posted every Wednesday, but I'm like, due to all this rain, and we got 2 more days of rain, I'm like I'm almost a month ahead right now, which I guess I don't know. If you're another YouTuber, please let me know. Do you get, like, because I'm new at this, months ahead on videos? Or do you do like video week by week by week? Because I'd like to maybe post a few more, but I don't know. So let me know in the comments down below. And thank you everyone who's watching. I hope all this crazy virus stuff isn't impacting your life too much. It's definitely slowed me down. If it's raining tomorrow, I'm gonna probably have to go talk to like 100 farmers just to try to rake in some more work, because they're, in my area, farmers and truck drivers are the only guys really doing much. Most of my work comes from like dump truck drivers, excavator operators, bulldozer operators, all that kind of stuff, and they're just not doing much, at least in my area. But anyways, guys, that's my bit. Please like my comment, or like my video, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, get out, get a little better. Peace.